Volume 2.
Yeah. This is our show. Yeah. Introspective inside. Introspective inside.
That's your voice?
Peace, love, and all that good stuff. I am King Dev, and this is Introspective Insight, the Black Wall Street podcast. And I got a special guest in the building. Yeah, that's Fallon. What do you have, like a stage name or or like a name that
most people call me Phal. Like
Phal. I like it.
Yeah.
I
Most
like
people
it.
call me Phal. And then my social handle is Phaltv. So
Phaltv.
mm-hmm.
We got Phal in the building.
Hello.
Phaltv at Phaltv.
Hi everybody. What's up?
Yeah, this is long overdue. I'm a very perfectionist in my crafts.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I hit Phal like a while ago. I would say a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
To, just break bread, chop it up, get creative with. Primarily because I know how it is in these creative streets. People support you when they benefit. When they
Yes, that's true.
feel like they can benefit from you. That's funny. We were just talking about that earlier and associating it to hip hop. But but I'm one of those where it's like I see you doing something that's dope. Like I'm a support. Like that's just the way that I am. And it actually goes to the word of the show, which is Ubuntu. I am because we are.
I know that word.
Yes. That goes with the conversation that we're going to have.
Yeah.
But to what I just said, which I didn't plan on that segue, but that was a perfect segue. I just seen you started posting on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody knows how you become friends with anybody on Facebook. You just see people there, right? But your girl talk hip hop,
Girly Rap Reviews.
Girly Rap Reviews. See, I already got it wrong.
That's all
Girly
right.
Rap Reviews, which I appreciate primarily because the sport of hip hop, the culture of hip hop, doesn't represent women in the way that it should represent women. That's number one.
Yes.
And it doesn't accept women as they are. And it also doesn't validate women's opinions
Yes.
in the space of hip hop and talking about, projects or songs or rap beefs or
Yep. Unless you're coming in a very passive way.
in a passive
Very
way.
removed.
Or you
Like
create your
it's
own.
cool, but that's y'all thing. Yeah.
So I appreciated that, especially when I seen the first one and I was like, oh, that's dope.
Thank you.
And then it's substance. Like it's not just I'm doing this because, whatever. I'm like, I do this.
Yeah.
And I listen to music and I have a critical
Yes.
introspection of the music, right? Like I process it internally and I make my own, whatever. And then I put it out to the world. So
Yeah.
once I seen that, I reached out, I'm like, yeah, let's have a conversation or a series of conversations.
I'm glad you did. Like, first of all, I just appreciate you like tuning in, number one. Also that you seem to understand like what it is I'm trying to do with it and just really trying to have it grow into a certain space. And I love being here. The studio is really nice. Like it's a dope space. So, and I really enjoy what you do as well. Especially with Black Wall Street. I think that's a very hard niche because a lot of people don't have the range to have those conversations and really like go in depth about what that means in whatever facet and how it takes place and shows up. So I think what you're doing as well is actually really cool and really important. That's also very, I think, indicative to our culture as far as what it looks like to grow. That's not just music and hip hop culture in that way. Because I think sometimes we have a tendency to like minimize what the culture looks like, where we just hyper focus on music and fashion and we love it, but it's not all of it. And I think we need to be able to have those conversations that are beyond that and be well-rounded in what we identify as the culture itself. So, yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I'm also a hip hop educator. So I study
Please
the culture.
define what that means
So
people that don't know.
Yeah, so hip hop education is something that was coined that is being coined by scholars in the space. I learned about it through Christopher Emden, who is a PhD professor, science professor in Columbia, at Columbia University in New York City. Gloria Lasson Billings also engages in the hip hop education space and leveraging the culture as pedagogy. So, and pedagogy, for those who don't know, is just a way of teaching. So, or a methodology of teaching, right? So if I teach you, the way that I teach you 2 + 2 is different from teacher to teacher. So I have my own pedagogy that I might teach 2 + 2, but you also might have your own way to which you approach that lesson. And in the education space, cultural competence is like a thing, and you want to make sure that you are developing lesson plans and these different things in the educational space that speaks to the reality and the cultural competence of the youth or adults that you're teaching, right? Critical consciousness, honestly, is what it's called. So, I'm a hip hop educator. I host monthly work group ciphers with my national cause.
A work group cipher.
Yeah, so I'm taking the cipher model and I just flipped it to mean something different, while also keeping all of the tools of the cipher intact.
For sure.
So we're not rapping, but if you think about a cipher, the cipher invites anybody who is brave enough to
step
talk
in.
their talk. And we lead with innovation, right? So the person that's speaking, as innovative as you can, you lead with that. And the circle leads with grace, in terms of we welcome you with open arms, but we're also going to give you some rigorous critical feedback on how you can get better, right? But all of that is led by love.
Yeah.
And when talking about culture in the education space, you want to make sure that people is empowered to, come to the circle and speak, their mind without fear of persecution or judgment or things of that nature. So, I take hip hop and I break it down. I created something called the hip hopic method. It's almost like the scientific method.
Okay.
A whole bunch of different things. So hip hop is my thing. So again, bringing it back full circle, when I seen the Girly Rap reviews, said it right? Yeah, woo. When I seen them, I was like, yo, this is dope, because this is a lane that we don't often see. So we got like Nyla Simone. Is that her last name?
Yes.
From
Well, we want to talk.
New York
Is that
City.
her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nyla, she's a DJ in New York City. She's part of the Power
Power
team,
105 family.
105 family with Charlamagne and all them. You have some personalities, but we need more. Yeah. And I'm big on we need more, because we also need women to redefine how women are perceived in the landscape of hip hop, right? And that starts somewhere. So when you have men dominating the commentary in anything, then that perspective dominates the development of anything that they're a part of. So the more women, think about basketball, women's basketball. Yeah. We're seeing more women commentators.
And coaches.
And what is that doing to the game? It's bringing it to a level that it's never seen before.
Yeah. What was it? Who's the coach? What's his name? Dawn
Staley.
Dawn Staley. Yeah. Fire.
Yeah. And she is a product of, the inadequate beginning of girls basketball. Yeah. In terms of, being professional and everything, being new. And now she's one of the pioneers too.
I was gonna say she's been a pioneer for a minute, because even from her start, she was leading teams.
She's one of the greatest to ever play.
Like when she was on the teams, I think she did overseas for a bit. I could be wrong about that.
No, she was. Well, she probably did, because it was WNBA in the 90s.
But either way, even to now seeing her being a coach and even leading that team, who hasn't won in who knows how long, or at least has been struggling to. So I mean, she's a gold mine. Yeah, she's proven herself to be that from the beginning. So
you have that, and a lot of the times that's self-contained within the girls' game in particular. But now you see, women anchors on ESPN, and you got the all women's powerhouse
Yep.
of, they're taking, so for example, the WNBA don't make a lot of money, right? The average salary in the WNBA is like $76,000, right?
Wait, what?
Yeah. The average.
You're lying.
No, I'm serious.
Hold on. So wait, because I really didn't know that.
Oh,
so
no,
they're
yeah.
only making
what
average
we make.
That's why
they have to go overseas.
Or normal NBA,
their average is 1.2 million.
A clean 1.2.
Well, clean 1.2. And that's like the average. So like rookies coming in.
That's nuts.
And part of that is because the TV deals and
of course
and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So like Caitlin Clark coming out of college, they're already. I think I seen a story where the opening night when they play. I forget one of the other big teams. They're moving into the T-Mobile Stadium, which is a larger stadium. It goes from I think 12,000 seats to 20,000 seats, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh wow!
Okay. So because they're
good.
expecting the draw of Caitlin, being in the W, but in all of that, right? A lot of that is by way of women being the pioneers of the sport. Kobe, when he retired, he was a big advocate for the women's game. You're seeing more of the NBA players advocating for the women's game, and all the different things. But the other piece is, you're now seeing more women training like men. There was also a divide in there where it was a very textbook, set your feet and shoot the ball and everything is slow. But now you're seeing people like Caitlin Clark that's playing like men.
Yep.
And
then it gets even more nuanced if you have players that are trans.
Yeah.
Because there's been a lot of debate about that too. And I'm not deep in those debates, but I can understand how the nuance and the depth of that grows, because now you have to figure out how to be inclusive but still remain true to the sport and its legacy and how all the things come into play.
Yeah, and I don't think that they, meaning the leagues, have crossed that. I know it's happened in the Olympics.
Yes, that's what I'm referring to. I should have been specific.
It's happened in the Olympics with the swimming.
Yes.
But I don't think it's happened in
basketball.
Primarily because I think there is a cultural thing with that one.
Okay.
So like that was a white man that was inadequate in swimming that transitioned to, I won't do air quotes.
Well, we'll do a trans woman.
Yeah, trans woman that became a trans woman to then dominate the women's game, right? I think it's a little bit different in basketball.
Okay.
Primarily because I don't think that if you are good enough to get to the D1 level as a man, trans or not, that you would go to the women's game because of the reputation of the women's game. It would. It's one of those things where it's like, that's like me not being good enough to be on varsity, so I try to go and make the girls' varsity team.
But I don't think that was the story with that competitor, the trans woman
for the
Olympics.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't the story that she curated.
Well, I get the debate because I think
but that's the debate.
Yeah, I do get the debate. Like, I think it's hard because, and I'm only speaking from somebody who looks at sports very outside in. Like, I'm not on the floor. I'm way up in the stadium when it comes to
spectator.
I'm a spectator, very, very light spectator. But I think it's just tough because it's one of those things that the way that our world is changing, it's like, again, in my mind, is how do you still represent a sport and its legacy, but also make sure that it's inclusive and that people are still finding opportunity in it. And I think it's so hard, and trans folks are always up for debate, and I think villainized, and they always are put in spaces where they're like the plot twist, like they're the wrench in everything.
Yeah.
And it sucks. because it shouldn't be that way, but I understand the difficulty of it all with trying to make sure that whatever needs to be done, and I say whatever needs to be done in the sense of like the general how it works, A to Z, how that can feel tough to say the least. Like, so I get that for sure, but
yeah, and I think not to go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Is regardless, the reason why I say it's different is because even if there is a trans woman in the W or in college, all it does is help develop the game even more.
That's
so
also
like,
a fact.
Caitlin Clark is as good as she is because she played with boys for the duration of her, like until I think 7th grade. Right?
Okay.
So part of the culture of basketball is when you play with people that's better than you, you get better.
Oh, yeah.
So part of that's why I was like,
yeah, no, I get it. I get
in
you.
that in the thought process, the culture of basketball, it even Don Staley said like if you trans and you on the women's side, come and play. Because the reality is the reason why the Gamecocks were 38-0 is because they practice against college boys.
Do you think the NBA would be more interesting if they had women and men train? And I know it's like off topic, but
Train?
Or even even if
like a co-ed league?
Yeah. Even if they didn't necessarily play or do games yet, but just them doing like cross training. So if they have practices or whatever, like it's a co-ed practice. So they know how to navigate whether you're playing, if it's an all male game or all female game, but in the event of, let's say, like when they do all-star games and now the all-star games have women players.
So,
you know what I mean? Like,
so there is going towards that because you had Sabrina, I forget her last name. She went up against Steph Curry this year in the 3-point contest.
Yeah.
And then the celebrity game is always co-ed, but that's the celebrity game. And there's talks to continue to engage the women's game in the men's All-Star weekend, which I think is a great thing.
Yeah.
I think it's good all around because the reality is the reason why the women's game is so behind is because it wasn't treated like the men's game. And I guess this is a really good segue into the conversation we're gonna have anyway. But that's why I said like Caitlin Clark is as good as she is because she trained with men.
Yeah.
Right? Like Juju Watkins is as good as she is because she trains with men. And if you watching, it's so crazy because watching the tournament, you see the difference in how some of these girls are trained. To where you have some girls that look like the traditional women's player where everything is textbook and I got to get square up and I got to shoot the ball this way and I got to set my feet. And then you have Caitlin Clark coming off a screen and she just jumping and shooting the ball, right? It's just a different approach to the game. And, you know, just being in that space as an athlete, you know, that's what we want to see. And the only way that you get there is continuing to intertwine the two games and cross-pollinate the two games. And that's how the W grows is, like, I don't understand how, I think, on the business side, every men's team should co-opt and adopt a women's team and use the revenue
for sure
to continue to bolster that market. Because at the end of the day, when the women's game wins, we all gonna win because that's another market to continue to play basketball year round. Right?
It's the same association nonetheless.
Yeah, it's like,
so why not?
Why not? So
yeah, that's smart.
And you know, I think that kind of goes into the topic around like just hip hop in general. We've been flowing, but it's like even with the women's game and like the reason why, you know, I support Girly Rap Reviewer. And like, we don't have enough opinions, independent opinions, in hip hop from women.
Yeah.
And we don't have enough women in hip hop being able to exist as they are because they have to, they have to transform themselves to fit in this box that, and industry exec wants to invest in.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, being able to have like I think Rhapsody, that's one of my favorite women.
I love Rhapsody.
Rappers.
Love.
Fire. She writes,
Ben
you know, her
Fire.
stuff.
Mm-hmm. Pen game is crazy.
Yo, pen game is crazy, but she's just not marketable in the broader scheme of things. But I bet she write from a lot of men, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, let's talk about that. How did you get
into doing them? Or just hip hop?
Let's start at the beginning, hip hop.
Okay.
Yeah, let's start in the beginning of hip hop.
That's
like, when did you become a hip hop head?
probably high school. I'd say that for sure. I think I've always been a hip hop head. Like, I grew up with my dad bumping DMX, like at max in the crib, in the car, like anywhere we going. And me and my brother small in the back, looking crazy with my dad rocking, right? Like,
yeah, that's that. Yeah,
DMX, Run DMC, Eric B, Rakim. Like, these are people that are staples in my household.
Mm-hmm.
Tribe, all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in high school, it's a twofold thing, because I think part of it was my own discovery, but also being exposed at the same time. So, you know, we went to an art school. So part of that is everyone's discovering new things, new music, new art. We grew up Tumblr era. You know what I'm saying? Like, social media was
MySpace
still,
top 5.
You know what I mean? Like, so all of that in the encompassing with music, I think was new. It was like finding forums where people are having these discussions and, you know, or putting people on to new things, right? So, like, I remember even still downloading things. Like, I was a FrostWire girl. I wasn't a LimeWire girl.
Okay.
But so with that, being exposed to new artists and new music through my friends, and it's through my school atmosphere, but also taking the time to learn about, like, really listening to albums. Like, I was definitely a kid that, like, asked for CDs for Christmas. You know what I mean? So really, like, understanding, like, music and hearing a song is one thing versus it being a part of a project, and, like, really understanding, like, something that's conceptual, or this is a whole idea of something through music. So high school is where I really, like, tapped in, and I think even expound my idea of, like, what music I was listening to as well. Because, you know, like, if you're a person where a lot of your music is consumed through the radio, you got maybe 20 songs that are just on the same rotation. So, again, going to art school and then being a dancer, we were also forced to explore other sounds. So I was not even forced because I enjoyed it, but essentially we're pushed to find other sounds. So that means looking into folk, looking into alternative and experimental, jazz, even types of versions of jazz, even if it's just what's the word I'm looking for? Not aesthetic, but, you know, like ASMR kind of sounds. I can't think of the word right now.
I
Atmospheric. That's the word.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
atmospheric. So even just expounding our range in that way, I think is what really pushed me or had me really be, like, in tune with music, because I had such a vast landscape to learn and grow from. So even when I came to my approach with hip hop, because I already had a vast landscape, I was willing to listen to anything. So I can go from listening to DMX to then go listen to a Kendrick, to then go listen to a Lupe, a Kid Cudi, a Tech Nine, and all of that flows in between. So yeah, that was my start. Anyway.
So walking through the hallways in high school, what was your go-to?
First of all, I'll say I was always a kid with headphones on.
Same.
I loved my little gummies, my little $10 gummies. Yeah, had them on deck, at least 2.
Yeah, never not had headphones on.
Oh, for sure. And then when I got my Beats, don't talk to me.
100%.
I'm not available.
Yeah, clicking the button, noise cancellation.
What? Who was I listening to in high school? Man. Oh my gosh, I gotta, like, go back in my brain. So I was exposed to Our Future through friends. I'll tell you that. I did not come across them on my own. But Our Future, and then, you know, really with Frank and Tyler. I bumped Wiz for a little bit. Big Lupe girl. Like the Cool is my favorite Lupe all time. Who else did I listen to? Cuddy, Jeezy.
Yeah.
Like I was very
yeah.
like
You was all over.
I was all over the place. Jay. Who else was I listening to? Even some 80s heads. Like I was listening to Eric B. I was listening to Big Daddy Kane. But then on the flip of that, like, and in my mind, I consider them hip hop just because of their connection. Jill Scott, Erica.
It's all hip hop.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like Lauren Hill. I got actually, which is, it's not embarrassing to me, but I even like got into White Girl Mob. I don't know if you remember them.
White Girl Mob.
Yes, you remember
familiar.
Krayshawn, the white girl rapper? Gucci, Louis.
Oh,
Fendi,
yeah.
Prada. So they actually had a whole team. They were White Girl Mob.
What?
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely indicative of its time. But, you know. So I was just always, I think for me, I was always excited to hear new things. Like, because it's so easy to, again, with radio play, you're only exposed to so much, whether it be literally the songs itself or a certain sound. So for me, I was always available to hear something new or something interesting. I was always the one that was ready for BET Cypher's Hip Hop Awards on it. I was a 106 in Park kid. What?
Yeah.
Every day I'm on it.
Freestyle Fridays.
What?
I'm there. Don't talk to me.
Don't talk to me. I'm not available, babe. Like, if you didn't watch it, you can't talk to me.
Yeah. Debating on that shouldn't have been number 1 this week.
Exactly.
Yeah, nah, that's good.
Yeah, that was actually, fun fact, that was like my dream as a kid, was to be a 106 in Park host.
A host?
Yeah. Like Roxy, I loved Roxy. Like I thought Roxy was the coolest. Her, and I was too young for Free. I remember Free, but Roxy was like the pinnacle for me. Yeah. When it was her and Terrence J, hell yeah. I was like, yeah, that's what I'm trying to be on. Yeah.
Yeah. I wish they still had like that type of like hip hop journalism. Because that's just really what it is. They're journalists.
Yep.
TV personalities, but they were hip hop journalists.
Yeah.
And that's a whole show and concept. And now we got like DJ Academics streaming in his house.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's dope. And I mean, it's always interesting to hear people's like story of origin when it comes to like hip hop, music in general, but hip hop, because everybody has a different like story of origin.
Yeah.
And I don't know when I like really dove into being a hip hop head, but I know my dad was the same as yours.
It's always our dads.
Like, that's why I listen to like, I still Sanford and Son, even though it's not hip hop, but I'm watching Sanford and Son because my dad's watching this and laughing and I'm laughing at it, and you know what I'm saying? But even with hip hop, like Jay-Z, my dad is a very like, he's
is he a purist?
Yeah. He's you know,
he's but Jay-Z, Nas.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's what Mos Def was in that video when he was saying Drake is, you know, he's not hip hop, he's pop, right?
Yeah.
He's very much so like, like, that new stuff, I don't want to listen to that. I'm listening to Jay-Z because it's real hip hop. I'm listening to like when the Black Album came out, that was the first like album that my dad bought in a while. And he played it nonstop.
As he should have.
Nonstop. Oh, 100%. But it's like
the
even,
Black Album is...
the Black Album...
is the one.
Yeah.
And people are going to say Reasonable Doubt. I don't agree.
Really?
Nope. I know whoever's going to hear this, I know you're like, what? Yeah, it's not for me. The Black Album is my one.
That's your one of his discography.
Oh, yeah. Top 3. And it's not 3.
I like it. I personally like Reasonable Doubt. I don't think that is his one, but the Black Album is up there in top 3.
I can see that.
Yeah,
for sure.
Primarily because he was in a bag in Reasonable Doubt.
Yes, I can give you that.
Was ahead of that time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those like no skip albums. Like I'm not skipping a track on Reasonable Doubt.
Yeah.
But the same with the Black Album. I'm not skipping I'm not skipping a track. Like there's not no, I'm not doing it, right?
Yeah. I feel like Reasonable Doubt, for me, I totally understand the reference of him being like the Frank Sinatra of rap. Like if in that frame, I feel like for that time, like if you could be a Renaissance man of hip hop, yeah, I'll give it to him for sure.
Yeah. I mean, and that was also his introduction to the game.
Yeah.
As a solo artist, first studio album. And that was a reconditioning of him.
Mm-hmm.
Like Jay-Z before then wasn't rapping like that.
Right.
So that was a, experiment, if you will, and it worked.
It worked.
And, we have Jay-Z years later, almost 30, 40 years later? That was 97.
So that's 20, almost 30.
They're almost 30 years later. Yeah, that's it.
That was 97?
Yeah, that was 97. That was 97.
That's my birth year. All right, shit.
That's why it's not. That was your birth year. You wasn't.
But it don't got to. It's in my spirit. It's in my system.
Spirit. Oh yeah, 100%.
We don't even gotta.
I mean, I was. yeah. No, that's. Yeah. So, my dad, he instilled like the culture in me from that like purist perspective.
Yeah.
So, and my mom was the opposite. So my mom was listening. My mom is from Florida.
Okay.
So I'm listening to Trina.
You a Project Pat.
Uncle Luke.
Okay.
My neck, my back. King Wayne with it. All that because that's what. And we always went to Florida every summer.
Yeah.
So I'm immersed in the culture from different regions.
It's
of
funny
the
you
world.
say that because I feel the same way, but with dancehall and reggae, because I'm a first gen kid. My mom's from Jamaica. So her side is us listening to rhythms and dancehall and selectors and DJs freestyling and all like that's. So it's funny that you mentioned that because I get that.
Yeah, and that's my sister is big on dancehall. So I got a lot of that from my sister. I was listening to Slutum and walking through the hallways. If it came on the shuffle.
Yeah.
We only had so many songs that we could put on our iPad.
No, I was
iPod, so.
I was knee deep in there.
Yeah.
Slutum is like that's like tip of the iceberg. I'm listening to Yellow Man and Cutty Ranks.
Yeah. See, I ain't go that deep.
Yeah.
I ain't go that deep. Like that's I ain't go that deep. I'm commercial dancehall.
I get you. I get you. You listen to Elephant Man.
Yeah.
Beanie.
Beanie Man, all them. Yeah.
Yep.
But that's part of like where a lot of the range came in. So then as I grew, it's just more so like fine tuning what I'm listening to and having those conversations of like, what did you hear?
Yep.
Not necessarily what did you hear, but like at some point it clicked and you started to be a little bit more critical in the things that you're listening to. So now I have a thing. So, with rap beefs, right? Ether wasn't ether to me when ether came out because I wasn't connected to the culture.
Right.
Then.
In that way.
As I got older and ether continued to be a thing in the culture, when you listen to it, it's like,
yeah.
Because Nas is not somebody. Nas is like what Kendrick is now. In a sense, like he's a pure rapper, right? He's in
that last project, no, but yes.
In a sense
I see what you mean.
And I'm kind of debating with my own self around that because Kendrick is one of those like he's one of those animated artists to where his work. It's almost like he's painting pictures. He's a storyteller, right? But Nas is also a storyteller. But Nas is also a product of the game when it was in its most purest form.
Yeah, in its prime.
Right? Like KRS-One.
One of its primes.
Is like a product of the game from the beginning. So KRS-One is what hip-hop was in its inception and creation, right? Coming from Sedgwick projects in the Boogie Down Bronx, right?
Yep.
So part of what in the world? I think the response to Drake, the response came out because my cousin.
Wait, like Kendrick's?
Drake's response to Kendrick. I think it dropped.
Oh, like, yeah.
Because my cousin is like blowing me up right now. Yeah, we might listen to it on to get a initial reaction. But yeah, like a lot of like that. you get a lot of that, and I think hip hop is it's a journey.
Yes.
Like the culture is a journey, and you enter it in different elements. That's why, again, kind of bringing it back full circle is I like the Girly Rap Review because it's not anything different than what we already get broadly, but it's like the perspective of the woman is always the perspective that we should listen to.
Yeah.
Because it brings a different perspective, lens of understanding to things that we already discussed.
Well, and I think, too, people forget that, like, women have always been a part of the conversation.
Right. Yes.
Have always been, whether it be like in context of what men are rapping about, or even just how it became a thing of itself. Like Sugar Hill Gang is because of a woman who said, nah, we need to go outside and go to these radio stations and make them play this. Because if it was up to men at the time, for that time, it probably still would have been on the street. And we just rocking on the street. It's our thing we do outside. But a woman was like, nah, we need to make this a real thing. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I mean, that was really my approach to Girly Rap Reviews because I was doing a lot of social media content anyway that I liked, but it wasn't hitting the way I wanted it to. So I was doing like a lot of fashion content, trying to do beauty content. And it was cool, but I felt like I was entering a niche that was oversaturated and it's already hard for Black women in that space. So, and I think my approach to that also in full truth is that I wanted that something to be like I achieved successfully. Like I think I saw that lane as like something to do versus with Girly Rap Reviews, I just started doing them because I'm like, I always have these conversations all the time in the crib with my friends outside. So it was very natural for me. And I was just like, you know what, bro? Like, to your point, there's not a lot of women in the space for commentary, for the opinions. And I'm like, half these men don't even be right. Like, y'all be loud and wrong.
Right. Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but you have the space and the platform. So I'm like, I'm just about to start doing it. And it literally just came from, I had an opinion one day, I think about Doja Cat. Because I saw all the discourse about her album. And everyone was like,
Which one?
The latest one that she just put out, Scarlet.
Oh.
Right? And everyone's shock, they were like, oh, Doja Cat can rap. And I'm like, duh.
She been can rap.
She been
rapping like, circles around y'all.
For years. Like, because I was also the mixtape girl. Like, I enjoyed finding people through mixtape. So I was bumping Doja when she was YouTube heavy.
Yeah.
So to see her progression, and I already knew this, but to see everyone else, and I say everyone like in the general sense.
Yeah.
Being like, oh, she could rap. I'm like, duh. Like, where have you been?
Right. So
for me, it was kind of like, you know what? Instead of me brewing this or just on my mind or just on the internet, I'm like, I'm about to make a video. Because I know I got some shit I got to say. So I just did it one day and I saw like the response of just people that were also in tune with it, with the culture that I didn't even realize that people were in tune with that were in my space. So I'm like, oh, this is actually fun. And I think that's what kept me doing it because I enjoyed it. Like it wasn't something that I wanted to achieve. It's not a task. Right. So it was just like, I've known this my whole life though. Like it almost kind of clicked in my brain because I'm like, this is what I do all the time anyway. But I also found the lane because I sat there, I made the first video. I'm like, I knew of one girl that was doing it. I think her name was like AJ. She used to be on YouTube. And she had braids. She used to wear this like blue headband. This one black girl. She was doing reviews for years, but I could not think of no one else other than her that was doing music reviews.
Yeah.
So then I just searched up like just hip hop, rap, music reviews, whatever tag, whatever thing it was, just to see the landscape. It was nothing but men.
Yep.
So I'm like, okay, this is interesting, because again, the conversations that are being held and who has the space and the forums to do it, it's all men all the time.
All the time.
The biggest platforms are predominantly men. And then even down to smaller platforms are still men.
And the women are the ones moderating the conversation.
Off on the side, behind the camera. And not even really in the conversation. Or on camera,
like,
but they're still not in it.
Academics and what's that show? It was Academics.
Everyday Struggle.
With
Nadeska.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
See,
where she's
there.
Kind of there, but she's just making sure that they don't get off task type thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, nah.
You're not a part, but you're not really a part of the discourse.
Right. Even with The Breakfast Club.
Yep. Angela
Yee didn't really have
she ain't do nothing.
A lot of
she didn't have no
opinion. She was just there to make sure that it wasn't an all-male show.
Yeah, and we didn't need you for that.
Nah.
You know?
Yeah.
Even with Laura Stiles, when she's with Rosenberg and Ebro.
Yeah.
It's the two of them. And she's, again, they're moderating. And that's not to say that they don't have opinions, but they're not in the conversations. And half of the time, they're not really invited to be a part of the conversation, right? They'll invite them for the sake of the three of us. Like, what you got to say real quick? But they're not saying, like, you're the footnote. So for me, it was like, you know what? I'm about to flip this shit. Because of the fact that I'm like, I am a person that's really in tune. And I love music and I love hip hop. And I know that there's other women who feel the same way that I do, that either one, feel uninvited into the space, either are nervous to jump in anyway, right? Or it could just be, even if I had all the things I say, I don't think no one's gonna care. So for me, I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna get my shit off because I know this. I live this. I breathe this. Like, from my inception, like, this is what I know.
Yeah.
So, and who's gonna tell me I'm wrong? That's the thing, because all of this, if you think about it too, is music, yes, but it's opinion.
It's opinions.
We're doing opinion pieces every day. We're listening to people's opinion pieces all day.
Yeah.
So if everyone else can share their opinion, why can't I share mine? Yeah. Right. So that's really where it came from. Like, it wasn't over-calculated. It wasn't anything that I was like, I need to do it this way. Like, no, I literally just put out one video and then I was just like, you know what? I enjoy this. Like, and I'm noticing that there's not a lot of women doing it. So I'm just rock out.
Yeah, that's dope. And I guess that's where it is. Cause like even me, I have a YouTube page. And I have all the cameras and things that I need, and I know all about it, right?
For sure.
But I caught myself feeling like it was a task to even think about what to put on there. So I'm like, it's not time yet.
Yeah.
Right? And I think now I'm kind of venturing into knowing what the content might be or might not be, right? Because we also, as creatives, don't want to be the product of copying what other people are doing.
Yes.
Because then it comes off as inauthentic and then, it's not sustainable, right?
Yeah.
So even, I guess, with the podcasting, it hasn't necessarily been consistent because some of the conversations just was like,
And I can attest to that because I was podcasting too. Like, I think I've done at least 2 podcasts now. My latest one I did was Yappy Hour with my friend Corey. And that went really well. But we ended up taking a hiatus because he ended up moving. So that was on hiatus. But I think even that, like, our approach was very perfection-like. Like, at least for me, I was very much like, it needs to be cool. it needs to be this, it needs to be that. Like it was still very task driven.
Yeah, it's not all like,
and it doesn't. Yeah, like it's authentic because it's you, but it doesn't. I think the spirit of it.
yeah, the creation isn't authentic.
Yeah,
it's just,
like it feels. You can feel when it feels forced,
right.
Versus when you're just going and you're flowing because it's actually coming to you. I get that for sure.
Yeah, and it's one of those like it's the duality of content creation because it's really a job for real. Like
it really is.
It ain't no like you just
and it's not quick.
Yeah, you don't just like it's 3 cameras in here right now. I got to go in and match the 3 cameras to the audio that's in this thing.
Yeah, God bless you.
Just to put it together.
Because I'll be with my one camera. I'm like, son, I'm.
And even with, but the other thing is like even with the phone, it's still a dynamic of like,
yes,
this is like I'm recording it, but then there's a reality of I got to go and edit this.
Yep.
And then
and when you're recording it, trying to make sure your quality of your camera is on point.
Yeah, it's levels to this.
It's levels. Yes, it's not as simple as when you're pursuing it like as a potential career or something that you enjoy. It's very much like not a task, but it's a skill.
Yeah, and it's also like a lot of discipline, right? So
yes,
we like our time and we like to decompress and stuff, but when you sit in front of that edit, you're trying to. We are the hardest critiques of ourselves, right? And when we play it back to see how the edit looks, we're looking for things that other people will never see. So I envy, in the most positive way, not like envy for real, but I envy the people that can just hit upload and just let it do numbers. It fly. Like it's inspiring to see like the Kai from 2015 posting in his little room that's probably the size of this room, in the same clothes that he's wearing now on his streams, but he's in the room that's way larger, in a larger house. He can, he's worth I think 22 million or something like that. Like
good for him.
It's one of those things where it's like for artists, if you will, the perfectionism part of it is what ultimately holds us back from being that successful. Because now everything feels like a task because we're overanalyzing
so much.
Like I showed the video, one of the videos that I'm working on today, and they was like, "Yo, whatever you talking about, we don't see that. This is good."
Yes,
and I'm like,
"Yes,
that is so."
Doesn't it flip it on the head? Like, because it's all the details that, again, it's like you don't see what we're doing in the background. So when we're not feeling like the best about it, because we're still thinking about so much that we had to do to just get it here, but they're just taking it at face value for what it is.
Yeah.
Like, and it's funny because I think about that for my friends that are musicians. Like, where I'm in these spaces and they're like, well, this is just a rough draft. And I'm like, well, I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Because I'm just hearing it. I'm just taking it for what it is. Like, this is, to me, I'm always going to register this as the full product. And of course, like as a creative, you get people's process. Like you can obviously understand like the ebbs and flows. But I think what made me kind of relax on my content was the fact that nobody knows what I'm doing in the background, which means whatever I put out, they can just take it for what it is. Because they don't know that I chopped 10 minutes out of this, or if I flip the camera this way, or if I change the, like they don't know those things. And to be honest, they don't care.
They just want the content.
They want the content.
And honestly,
what do you have to say?
The content of you making the content is the content that they really want, because there's a bunch of people trying to figure out how do I get to this end point. Show me that. Right? That's a whole market in itself. So yeah, like I'm that person, and especially when you said, I had an epiphany when you said musicians and saying it's a rough draft. One, I use that same terminology when I showed my video earlier, but two, as a musician, we're taught to strive for perfection. So we practice until it's basically muscle memory. Yeah. So I never thought about that. Because like even our rudiments, like you supposed to practice. Like when we had lessons, we're practicing our rudiments in order to so everything is perfect. So when we go to perform, everything the mistakes are lessened because our fundamentals are really good.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah, but then if you think about it, then you just have muscle memory.
Right.
That's all you have. Like, but because now if you think too, like, and I'm even thinking about like jazz musicians, right? Most of the jazz musicians that we love and adore and we talk about all the time, John Coltrane, Miles Davis, you know, Duke Ellington, all of them, they're not classically trained musicians.
Nah, they just doing it.
And they're just doing it. Like, they're just like, you know, I'm just about to, because this sound is in my mind, I'm just about to put this shit out on the trumpet. Let's see how it goes. And made some of the best music that people are now, like, trying to learn how to do.
Yeah, yes. That is a great point. That is a great point.
Yeah.
That is a great
You know what I mean? Like, so it's like
even thinking about
why not?
He's not a jazz musician, but like Sam Cooke.
Mm-hmm.
And A Change Will Come. Like, that was an emotional reaction to a lived experience that he had, that he just went and
that was basically a freestyle.
Like, it was like he just did it and it became one of the greatest songs of all time.
That we still listening to.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay, so let's listen to this. I want to segue real quick. Let's listen to what people are saying is this Drake response, but it's on YouTube. So I don't know.
How do you feel about it being leaked?
I don't believe in the leak culture. Like, we live in a digital age, so at this point, it don't get leaked. Like,
also, my thing is like, it's yours. Who's going out of their way to go into your little interweb of your phone?
And that, you know what? And
to leak it, like,
and that goes into like kind of where this Kendrick Drake beef is, and where Cole went wrong, because I was like, I don't want to hear for the next couple songs that you go on hiatus for 5 years and then come back and nobody thinking about you. Because the reality is, you go on hiatus and you have the highest grossing hip hop tour until Drake and Cole link up and do twice that, right? So the other piece is like, I don't know if it's leaked, because we know that Drake is a performer.
Yes.
And if
he's
you
an
leak
actor.
if you leak it. The other piece is like, you got to understand, you got to come from a certain era to understand what leaking actually is.
Right.
Right? Like, leaking is when...
Tell them.
A song that's not supposed to be released gets released because somebody released it on a torrent site. Yeah. Like, it was
like, it was literally not supposed to be heard at all.
Yeah, it was obtained illegally. Like, that's what the leaking is.
And not to mention too, it sound like it wasn't supposed to be heard. Like, it sounds raw. Like, you don't have leaks that sound studio developed and mastered. Like, they sound very raw vocal at the time. Very raw, nothing to it, just that, and then
Yes. So I don't believe in the leak, and I feel like when things are leaked now, it's just to queue up engagement. So when everything comes out, now everybody is trying to figure out the rest, because we also live in a very short attention span culture.
Yes.
So if I grab your attention now and it's a short snippet, it's more likely that you're gonna try to find that point in the song if it's like halfway through. Like, oh yeah, that's the part I listen to. So all right, let's see if this is real or not. I don't.
Why do I feel anxious?
Yeah, but I don't believe that it's I don't believe it's the real one, because it's not on his. It's on YouTube. It's not on his page.
But that's kind of how Cole did.
No, Cole had.
Well, actually, he put
project,
it out. Yeah, that's fair.
On his.
That's
it was
fair.
on his thing.
That's
all right,
fair.
let's see.
So this is the alleged. We'll go with alleged for now. Oh, official. Oh, that's it?
That's it.
Oh, okay. How do we feel?
I gotta listen to it a few more times.
I feel the same.
I would say initially, like, just knee-jerk reactions without really thinking too much into what's being said or whatever. It's very Drakey. It sounds like Drake, and I anticipated a high energy track. The content is very aggressive. I appreciate that.
Yeah, but he ain't say it aggressive.
He ain't say it aggressive. He said it like Drake. That's what I said. It's very Drakey. I don't want Drake to, and this kind of goes into the conversation we was having before we started. Like, I don't want Drake to go outside of who he is in order to approach the beef, because then that makes him inauthentic. Like, Cole apologized because he went outside of who he is in order to try to respond to something that had nothing to do with him. Like, that's just the reality of it. That's why it's nothing there, because like he said in Middle Child, like, if I'm dissing you, like, understand that you're gonna know that I'm coming. Like, it's just one of those things where it had nothing to do with you, so don't, like, just sit over there.
Agreed.
And you're the middle child.
Agreed.
Little bro and big bro at the same time, so just go and take the beauty of being a middle child. You see everything, but you don't.
For sure.
You don't have to be in everything because you're not big bro or you're not little bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of that, I expected that from Drake. It was some like, ha ha ha, okay, I see what you did there. Moments in there, but
yeah, well, it didn't. Despite my laughter, it didn't really move me.
Nah, it was.
I do think it was goofy.
Yeah,
like it was. Yeah, but see, this is the thing for me. It just,
and that's not AI. I just want to say that.
Okay.
That is Drake.
I did see the theory. Or the
I don't think that's AI. I think that's
so.
Drake.
This is my thing. I just feel like some horsepower to it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what is the point? I just feel like this sounds like, again, though much better, it sounds like you didn't want to do this. Yeah. To me, like, it. Now you got some pressure on your back, so it sounds like fuck it, but it still at the source feels like you didn't want to do it.
Right. I agree. You know? And also, I just feel like Drake is in this, like, realm of he can make a hit.
I'm sorry. Am I allowed to cuss?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Nah, I want to be you.
I want to be in here.
No, you can be you.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Drake is in this realm of, like, he's found the formula.
Yes. Oh, agreed.
To where he can just make, like, that's a hit, right? If that is an actual track that drops, it's gonna be charting top 5.
Because he's making a song.
100%.
He's making a song. This is not a diss record. This is not this doesn't sound like an isolated venture.
Yes.
This sounds like something he's trying to, kind of like what he did with Back to Back with Meek.
Yes.
It's the same formula.
The issue is Meek didn't really want the smoke. Kendrick want all the smoke. And
this felt like a campfire.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like, okay, so it's similar to what I said with Cole. Once we get past all of the rhetoric, right? He's short.
He say he could size.
Dropping Give Me 50. He talking about Top Dog.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what SZA wipe down. The wipe down, I don't know what that's referencing.
Or SZA.
I don't know what that's referencing. But once we get past that, what happens next, right? Because again, what we heard from Kendrick is a pure hip hop track.
Yes.
That had nothing to do with, like, I'm not talking to Drake about Drake and what Drake is doing. I'm saying I'm the best, and I'm using triple and double and quadruple entendres to showcase that I am the best.
Yeah.
From a hip hop purist perspective, and I did it in 16 bars.
Yep. My
16 bars has resulted in 2 songs that combined amount to like 6-7 minutes.
That still, in my opinion, are not toe to toe.
It's not toe to toe with the 16 bars.
Yeah.
So for me, I can listen to it.
They're gonna say that we Kendrick.
Oh, 100%. They're gonna say that, but like,
we Kendrick heads.
At the end of the day, it's like, if you're gonna go up against, like, it's a reason why Jay apologized to Nas. It's a reason. It is a reason.
Yeah.
Like, there is no, you can't take away what Nas did to Jay. Because Jay was that anonymous, I'm gonna like still do my career stuff.
Yep.
And in the process, I'm going to take shots at you. Right? So he was, in a sense, Drake, right? I'm gonna make this song, but I'm gonna take shots at you. I'm gonna, it wasn't similar to that. And Nas was like, no, I'm coming straight at you.
That's what I want to hear. I want to hear fuck Jay-Z. That's what I want to hear.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I want that level of commitment because that's a part of hip hop. Like, and I think even when we were talking about earlier, like, I don't even see Kendrick with his 16 coming at it from a negative place. It's a sport.
It's a sport.
You can just have the beef for the sake of the sport. But now they got history.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? They have history. So of course that's subjective.
Yes, they got history. But again, based off of that history, two things have been consistent. Kendrick is saying that it's like, I got love for y'all, but I'm coming at all y'all next, right? That's the whole control verse.
Yep.
And everything after that is like, I am him and I'm coming at y'all openly, overtly. Drake has always been trying to say like, I'm the reason for your success, which is where the disconnect is happening.
Yeah, because
but it's like,
I didn't even know that was till recently, or I think with all of this starting, that was a part of the conversation. Like, I never even felt that way.
Yeah. After the control verse, I don't remember. I watched a clip of an interview that Drake did. And he basically was like, oh yeah, that was cool, but that's like what he said, that's a moment in hip hop that people was gonna forget about. Like, and then he was like, for example, recite the control verse. And everybody laughed. He was like, see, it was a moment in time. Nobody's gonna remember it. The issue is everybody remembers the control verse when they need to remember it. And I mean, you don't have to memorize anything because that's not a song that you would memorize. Like, I know a bunch of Kendrick songs that I can't recite right now, but if I listen to the track, I'm reciting every word line for line because To Pimp a Butterfly is one of his greatest albums of all time. That's just my opinion. A lot of people say that. It's just, that's what it is.
But even that was like, even with Cole, like, babe, you knew that wasn't true.
That's not true, which is
that's not true. And that's why you got chewed up.
Yeah, that's why I wholeheartedly agree with his apology because you went on track lying. Stop lying.
See, I don't even think, and this is me, I feel two things. One, I would have preferred he put the track out, and if it, good or bad, if it didn't work, or however it was going to go, you just let it rest right there, right?
It is what it is.
If an apology was needed, and this would obviously be unknown to us, do that offline. Don't do that in the realm of
yeah.
You know what I mean? I felt like we're in a boxing ring. It's we're at the game. We're at the match.
Again, on top of
I feel like I wasted a ticket.
Yeah. And I was 100% ready for first person shooter followed up with 7-minute drill. Or some type of like performance of the two things, right?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like he was still praising.
It was lazy.
He was still praising Kendrick in 7-minute drill.
It was lazy.
Like
it was lazy.
Crocodile tears. He started with crocodile tears.
It was lazy. It was lazy.
Yeah.
It was sleepy.
Yes.
It sound like you didn't want to do it. It sound like I know everyone's talking about me.
All right, let me go and do this.
Let me get my shit off, whatever that means. But then to go on the record to be like, I really didn't want to do it. Yeah, nigga, we know.
Yeah, we know.
We heard it.
Yeah, we heard it. And and the other thing is like, you would have to be, in a sense, partial to Cole or a fan of Cole to really hear how much he didn't want to do that. Like, if we're being honest, I have more J. Cole listening hours than I do Kendrick.
Okay.
Overall. Like, if we... Overall, I have more J. Cole listening hours than Kendrick. But in 2022, on my year end, and I think 2023, like, The Heart Part 5 was one of my top 3 songs that I listened to all year in terms of plays, right? So, and my number 1 was Big Sean. So I listen to Big Sean more than I listen to all of them because I think I relate more to Big Sean's content, right? I just like his artistry.
I love him too.
In terms of like listenability, I like his artistry a lot better. Like Dark Side of Paradise is an amazing album. It's my favorite album. It is,
and no one talks about it enough.
It's an amazing album. Detroit 2 is actually really good.
You know what's crazy? One of my best friends hates that album.
I didn't like it at first because I don't like.
He hated it, and I disagreed. I was like, no, I actually really loved it.
It grew on me, and Harder Than My Demons is my #1 song of
that's great
2023.
Oh, bet.
The song that I listened to, I think it was 2023.
Harder Than My Demons is fire.
Harder Than My Demons is fire. And I like to listen to songs that like relate to where I am in certain aspects of my life, right? So, I mean, I'm always going to be blackity black. So, To Pimp a Butterfly I can listen to at any point, but I'm not always in that mindset, right?
I feel you.
So, Big Sean gives me the ability to be in different mindsets through music. But it's like, it's fluid. Like, it's not over here. It's not over here.
It's so like right in the middle.
So like Cole is telling stories that sometimes you got to just be in the mindset to want to listen to.
Yep.
And Kendrick is very like, you got to be in a space
for sure
to listen to a project. Like Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, you're not going to listen to that or appreciate that in every day or every month,
It's
right?
definitely a conceptual album.
Yeah,
for sure.
And I love the concept album, so I might listen to it through and through.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I just might listen to. That's more on the side of my hip hop education side. Like, I'm taking Father Time and I'm conceptualizing like men got daddy issues too.
Yeah,
right. I'm
having a conversation
those
around
conversations. Yeah, but I don't want to always be listening to all of that all the time. So I say all that to say like.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking about my cousin told me that he used to say that Kendrick used to make slavery rap. I was like,
I don't think it's slavery rap, but I think it's rap that is proximate to his lived experience though.
Oh, definitely.
So like
definitely.
So like his 16 using the concept of first person shooter is more proximate to how he grew up in LA, which is a different world over there. Like
for sure.
If you don't understand, like go to LA. Like people tell you not to wear colors. Like that has to be trauma around just talking about
experience.
Traveling. Yeah. So just so it's easy to talk about, a first person shooter concept for Kendrick because he grew up in that era to where like that's where gang violence, gang culture was birthed, and everybody else takes pieces of that and puts it in their community or somebody from
because
LA.
New York gang was way different.
Yeah,
way different.
And Cole says that like like
LA is different.
like Cole has a line in KOD like gang culture is a LA thing. Like you're not banging for real if you're not in LA, right?
Yeah.
So part of where I think like this is you're gonna see a split is Drake is gonna always come with the hit.
Agreed.
And I said that from the jump. When the 16 came out, I was like, yo, lyrically, Drake is number like 5 on the all-time list. I mean, like of the current like big 3 or whatever. He's number 5. And 4 and 3 and 4 is, it's subjective to whoever is current now, right?
Interesting.
Nobody is thinking about
you're gonna
Drake
have all
lyrically.
the Drake hits at your
100%.
head.
Come on, come with it.
You know they're gonna be
lyrically,
at your
Drake
head.
is not, because we know that he has ghostwriters, right? We know these things.
Yeah.
But you can't take away his ability to conduct a hit.
Oh, for sure.
Like that's like this is gonna, if this is an actual song and it gets released officially on streaming services, it's going to be top 5, if not number 1 by this time tomorrow.
See, the thing is with Drake is that I think Drake has always had a universal approach.
Yes.
Always from the beginning. So you can't expect anything different. Not to say he's incapable, but I don't expect anything different because that's always been his approach. Even when it comes to now, here we are, where you in a rap beef, but it sounds like you're trying to make this a song.
The same old Drake. Yeah. Like,
and that's not what we want to hear.
Which is why I stopped listening to Drake projects, because I don't want to
His projects for the past
hear
6
you
years have
sing.
been so like,
And they all
Ugh.
over 15.
blech.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what is it? Not If You're Reading This Is Too Late.
Which one? Well, not Certified Lover Boy.
No,
That was
I didn't.
horrible.
I didn't listen to that. I hated Views.
Views is so long.
I hated Views
It's too
because I don't like the switching of genres from track to track. Because sonically,
It's very inconsistent.
Sonically, I'm locked into a genre.
Yes.
And then you go to reggaeton or like dance hall, and
Yeah.
you go back to like singing, and then you go
It's
to
a very
hip-hop.
inconsistent sound.
Sonically, I
it's cool,
can't.
but it's very all over the place.
Yeah, like
for sure.
I can't do that. My favorite album from Drake is Nothing Was the Same.
Thank you.
Because
That's mine.
It's his best.
People are gonna say it's Take Care. It's not.
It's his best complete work, and
I
I
stand
actually
on that.
seen a him breaking down the concept. It's actually a concept album, and you can play it backwards. So the voice on Pound Cake,
Mm-hmm.
where in between, or I think it's after or before Jay-Z verse, where he says all that other music is gonna live today and die tomorrow.
Mhm.
Dun, dun, dun. That is like if you play it backwards, it's introducing the first half or the first, like all of the songs, something like that. It's a concept behind it. So I was like, that's probably why I'm so connected to it.
Yes.
Because he actually put artistry into the creation.
Like it sounds like a very thought out.
And it
project.
flows from beginning to the end.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So, yeah. But,
Yeah.
I mean, just from listening to the track, I think it's a very much so Drake approach.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to make a hit. He probably have a hit. I don't like the repetition.
I wasn't into the what was it? The 50 push-ups?
Yeah, the 50
the drop and give me like I just wasn't into
50,
that.
50 a
Because
few
again,
times.
this is you trying to make this into a bop,
Yeah.
and that's not what we wanted. I will give him credit though; it was definitely better than Cole's,
Oh, 100%.
and I appreciate
100%.
that he went for it. Who's to say? I'm gonna hope that this is just one out of many in the chamber.
I think,
Or at least this is the starting of
I
we're
think
getting
Joe
into
Budden
it.
said they both have 2 loaded.
Okay. So if this is just your
If this is number
appetizer,
one,
I will
hope the
accept this
next
as
one
an
is-
appetizer.
because he did back to back. So he had 2 locked for
Okay.
Meek Mill. So
That's
he
fine.
released 2 tracks, but this ain't Meek Mill.
Right.
I just want to put that out there.
Not
And
at
then-
all.
And you know what the other piece is? I was thinking about it when we was listening to it. The reason why Kendrick is because we never have an expectation for Kendrick, and he always shows up and shows out.
See, I actually disagree. I think we do have an expectation of him, but I think he always meets that expectation. Which is
Maybe
why.
it's a both and, because
Yeah.
like, and when I say we don't have an expectation, that 16 bars, we didn't know it was there, and they wrote it out beautifully.
Mhm.
Like, to say like there's no features on there, and then there's a feature, so then now after, and even before like it released, it didn't say Metro Boomin, Future, and Kendrick. Now it says Metro Boomin, Future, and Kendrick.
Oh, I
So,
didn't even pay attention to that.
Before it wasn't, but now it's showing like the features,
Got you.
but which is not a
I didn't even
feature
pay
because
attention
it's
to
like
that.
the writers. But like, I don't have
That's petty.
Right. I don't have an expectation for Kendrick besides Kendrick being Kendrick. Like, I don't expect him to drop a hit. I don't expect him to say anything. I'm just expecting him to do what he do. So when I'm listening to it, I'm not listening for any reason but to see what he pulls out the hat.
I get you.
Like, we've been expecting Drake to respond, right? And now we're listening to see, well, okay, bar for bar,
Right.
what's happening, right? But Kendrick always seems to set the bar and make everybody else try to get to there. So like, even with
Agreed.
Control, like,
Agreed.
he set the bar. Nobody responded for 11, 12 years.
But that's why I say, to your point, that there is an expectation because he's historically
is that guy.
has done that. So whether it comes to his personal projects, I'm always expecting excellence.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Even if it's not your favorite,
yeah,
it will never be trash.
Well, I don't think that he's released anything trash.
Never. It may not be your personal favorite, whichever that may be, but it's never trash. And then even when it comes to his history with doing ciphers, features,
Never trash.
You know what I mean? Like visuals.
And the crazy part is
him and Dave Free. Crazy.
His visual game is different.
Disgusting.
It's different. When he released Family Ties, that video, I'm sitting there like, this is amazing.
Is that with him and Homegirl?
No, Family Ties was him and Baby Keem.
Oh, yes, you're right. I'm thinking about what's the song from Mr. Morale? Him and Homegirl.
We Cry Together.
Yes, thank you.
See, that's just an example of like I didn't have to look at a track list. Now I can't recite the song, but I don't have to look at the track list to understand that.
Yeah, I was choking on that one, but it was there.
And I like it because again, that shows a duality. That's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, like even those visuals. And I seen TikTok is an amazing place for everybody who don't know.
It is actually.
They have so many pages that break down like albums and like.
Oh yeah.
And every Kendrick album has addressed a different type of media. Mm-hmm. And Mr. Morale and Big Steppers was his theater media project.
Which makes a lot of sense. Total sense.
I can't
because it even sounds, listening to it sounds theatrical. Yeah. So the visual to it makes makes it complete.
Or even just look at the visuals. Like even the visual with is it United in Grief? When he was talking to the therapist.
Yeah. Wait, no.
Is that United in Grief?
Is it?
I gotta look at the track. Now I gotta look at the track list to see which song it is. Because if I see the
because now I'm thinking about it too.
Nope, I think it was Rich Spirit. No, Silent Hill. See, now I got it.
No, it's not that one either. Wait, is it? Is it? I
feel like it's.
Oh my gosh! Because I was just thinking about that damn thing. Kendrick. No, it's not N95. It's definitely not.
It's not N95. Let's see.
Wow, not us.
Oh no.
Not us having a brain fart. What is happening?
Right. Okay, hold on. Let's see. Come on, I don't want to see that. I just want to see.
Because now I gotta.
Kendrick Lamar music videos.
Maybe it is Rich Spirit.
I think it's Rich Spirit. Because he's speaking to the therapist.
I think it is Rich Spirit. You might have been on point with that one. I could be.
Let's see.
I love how we got to take a mental break. Like,
right,
hold on,
guys.
Take
a mental break.
We need to.
Because now it's gonna. Like he's a legitimate artist. Man. Let me just type in Rich Spirit.
Count Me Out. That's what it is.
Count Me Out.
That's the one. Wow, who we had to get to that one?
yeah. Count Me Out. Yeah.
Count Me Out.
Yes. Yeah, his visuals is amazing.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think much people pay attention to visuals. I actually like after 106 in Park and like shows like that like cease to exist. I don't even like look for videos no more.
I could see that.
Like I will watch some and then I know like some production companies like Lyrical Lemonade and things of that nature, but I don't. There's a narrative in hip hop, at least that I see, where visuals are not as rich or sought after like before. Like before, it was like you got a hit, you make a video. But then
you know what? To your point, I feel that way also because I don't think a lot of artists are finding the value in the artistic direction that comes to videos. Because think about it, Kendrick's on that time right now. You know who's doing that shit as well? Beyonce. You know who's doing that shit then? Beyonce's Michael Jackson, amazing. Janet Jackson. You know what I'm saying? There are videos, yes, I think at a point in time were necessary, but that's also because it tested your creative ability beyond your music
story.
to tell a story. I feel like, are trying to make the video for the sake of emoting the energy that it's supposed to give. So when you listen to it, this is what you should think of, this is what you should visualize. But it does not expound on their creative brain and like the process of creating a story or telling the story, but also conceptualizing an idea of something.
Yeah. And that's hard. Because if
Mhm.
you're not an artist for real, then you wouldn't know.
Yep.
So like, I mean, I don't listen to Beyonce like that, but my favorite Beyonce album is actually the soundtrack for Lion King.
And it should be, because that's top 3 for me. No one talks about it enough, but that album,
I
phenomenal.
don't listen to Beyonce, but that album, front to back,
Phenomenal.
And the visual album,
Beautiful.
and I'm a Lion King. I'm Lion King
that's
the greatest movie of all time.
That's your heart right
Number
there.
1, right?
Wait, what?
If you know, you know.
That's your all time?
That's my all time number 1. If anybody asks me what's your favorite movie, Lion King, without question.
I have a theory about people who say that, but go ahead.
What's your theory? Now I want to know your theory.
I don't know why. I feel like people who love The Lion King as their favorite movie think very highly of themselves. And not in a bad way.
Like, why do you think that? Like, what about the movie?
I think because essentially the movie is the retelling of Hamlet, right? So, you know that, right?
The retelling of
Hamlet, like from Shakespeare?
Oh no, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So well,
no, I
now
didn't
you
know
know.
That. I didn't know.
So
that.
The Lion King, for people that don't know, is really Disney's reimagining of the story of Hamlet, which is basically Hamlet is the heir to the throne whose father gets poisoned. And in the Shakespearean version, he's dealing with insanity, but trying to figure out and actually frame the uncle, because he knows the uncle's the one who killed him, because the uncle is the one that's trying to ascend to the throne. Right?
Oh, that sounds very Shakespearean.
Yeah. So in the middle of that, he's trying to be like, how do I pinpoint and let people know, like, no, he's dead because of my uncle, without seeming crazy. So obviously Disney's gonna fluff that up.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, that's the story, right? But with that, I think because it's it's a movie that shows, I think, mental and spiritual strength and like rising up, like rising to the occasion, rising to the challenge. It's pretty much gives like I'm that nigga. Like I gotta get there. Like, because he knows that, and then you get disarrayed. Something happens that shakes you up, but you get back to the center of like, wait, nah. Like I'm big him. Like I'm him. Which is why I feel like people who love that movie, or if that's their number 1, because they resonate with the idea, or just feeling like, nah, I'm him, like, or I'm her, like I'm the one. Yeah.
I'll add that to the list of why. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
I don't know. If I'm being honest, I don't know why.
The songs are always great.
Over time, has always been like my movie, but I also grew up watching a bunch of Disney movies. And when I was growing up, apparently Pocahontas was like, I always asked for them to turn Pocahontas on.
Pocahontas is the shit.
Yeah, so.
Like my top 1 is Mulan.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Number 1.
That's a good one.
Mulan is number 1.
And the songs are amazing. Like,
but I totally love Lion King. Like probably top 5.
No, I'm
Mulan is my 1.
I mean, you don't know what number 2 is?
My number 2?
My number 2. You don't know what my number 2 is?
Guess
it. Let's see if you can guess it.
Okay. Can I ask questions that don't give it away, but give me a little range? Yeah. Is it a Disney Pixar?
Yes.
Okay. Was it made within the past 10 years or 20 years?
Actually, almost 30. Whoa. Yeah, 30. It was made within the last 30 years.
Okay, does it lean more 30 or is it more older than younger or younger?
It is approaching 30 in next year.
So what, Toy Story? Yeah, I know my shit.
Mm-hmm.
I know my Disney shit.
Yeah, Toy Story. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I'm just a sucker of like for good stories.
Yeah, agreed.
And Toy Story, I think I seen this thing where it was like, what's the sequel that was like better than its
original?
And I think Toy Story is like one of those.
I can agree to that.
One of those like movies where each sequel kind of gets better because it's continuing to tell like the original story. Yes. Mm-hmm. Outside of the last one.
You know what my other guess was going to be if it wasn't Toy Story? You give Big Hero 6. You ever seen that?
No.
Really?
Yeah, no.
Fire. That's actually a really good one.
Big Hero 6.
That one's fire.
I probably watched it like one time.
Yeah, that one's good.
Yeah.
That was good.
Out of those two, then it's like I like Mulan. I like Monsters Inc. That's a good story.
Yeah.
And then like Elemental.
That's the new one, right?
Yeah, that's a really good story. I liked stories. Like
Yep.
I think the one with the angry what is that called? You got anger, joy, all the emotions.
Inside Out.
Inside Out was really good.
You know which one I hated?
What?
Well, hate is a strong word. I won't say hated.
Yeah, hate.
I didn't like Soul. With the black man.
I fell asleep on Soul.
And you know what? I don't blame you. It was a slow burn. It was a slow burn.
Yeah.
It was cool. Like the idea of it, like the message of it was cool. It was a slow burn. And you know what's a sleeper? Like that actually is like puts me to sleep.
What?
Moana.
Really?
Yeah, she's a
I like the story.
She takes forever to get there. Like
Yes.
she takes forever.
I wouldn't say it's a sleeper for me, but it's not one that I'm going back to.
No.
My niece watches it. But
kids love Moana.
That's not one I'm going back to. That's not something that's like, yeah, let's turn on Moana.
Yeah.
Like it's
Moana's like my last
it gives like musical Stitch.
That and Frozen. Yeah. But I think Frozen I just didn't enjoy because it was so overhyped when it came out that it was just like I don't even want to engage.
To this day I haven't watched Frozen.
It's actually a pretty good movie. I ain't even gonna cap.
Yeah, I haven't.
It's good. It's just it's white woman heroism. So
I like Princess and the Frog.
I actually don't like that movie.
I liked it.
She was black for like 2 minutes.
Yeah, but that same thing with Soul. Like this black man, and you're this.
Yeah, this is probably why I didn't like it. And then half the time when he was black, it was the white lady.
Yeah.
In his body, so he's.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. No.
But getting back to your point about, I'm sorry, what were you about to say?
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I was just thinking about stories.
Mm-hmm.
Because we were saying that we really love a good story, and I feel like that is a big piece that is missing in music.
Yes.
And really in hip hop. That's where I can be critical. Because there are musicians in music in general that still try to create stories. Like, even though she's not my favorite, like Taylor Swift, she's a great songwriter. And I think she tries to make visuals that encapsulate either the lyrics itself or whatever emotion you're supposed to feel around that. She's not my personal fave at all, but I get why people really gravitate towards her. Mm-hmm. So, but with hip hop, I think we have become so oversaturated and overconsumed with
it's commercial.
The commercialization of it.
It's the commercial.
That it's even bled into the creative parts of it, which is a lot of it is heavy into the visual.
Yeah, and the other piece is like music videos used to keep your song charting.
Mm-hmm.
now that there's no market for that anymore, it kind of goes back to my original point of like, there's no motivation to create a visual because it goes to YouTube. I mean, it might do 1 million on YouTube, but a million, what's 1 million to somebody that I just tour for 100 million?
The only person I've been seeing doing that consistently outside of Kendrick is Doja Cat.
Yeah.
And them visuals are fucking weird. I'm not gonna hold. Like, not into it. But
it goes into that, like,
it goes into the idea of like, yo, like, this is a idea, this is a concept, this is a moment in time that we're encapsulating.
Yeah,
like,
I think she get a little carried away.
Yeah, she do.
Like, based off of like the perception, and I don't understand the whole like, I'm getting on social media and I'm acting weird.
Yeah, I get that. Totally, I agree.
In terms of the artistry, amazing. And like a lot of the visuals for Hot Pink, which is my favorite Doja Cat album.
Agreed.
On point.
Love Hot Pink.
Like on point. So I don't Paint the Town Red.
It was okay. Like
the visual was okay. I like the song, but I had to listen to the song a few times for me to really like the song. Like, okay, really like the song, because as I'm listening to it, I'm like, okay, I see.
Like that Demons video, I'm never watching it.
I don't think I've ever watched it.
I'm not interested. But that's because I don't like scary shit. It'll probably make me scared. I'm not gonna lie.
And I think demonic visuals is what the Illuminati's was in the early 2000s. It's that thing that's gonna get me views, it's gonna keep me on top. Yeah. Like, I'm pretty sure, and Paint the Town Red went up against a Nicki Minaj release. Like, it stayed number 1 and number 2 against a Nicki Minaj release. Like,
you know what I miss as well? I miss when videos were fun.
Yeah, Lyrical Lemonade does that.
Okay.
Cole Bennett creates fun videos.
Yeah, like I enjoy that side of it as well. Like, there's the idea of storytelling, yes, but like that's why I love like Tyler Creator videos, because they're not always this like intellectual thought out. Like sometimes it's just zany and it's fun. Like you had a Ludacris with big ass shoes on, big ass fist for no reason. Like
the Baby was doing that at a point until he got canceled.
Yeah, but you can't be whack person.
Yeah, yes, because he was the Ludacris of this era. Yeah, in terms of visuals.
Even with Eminem, when what's that one video he had where he had the dog puppets?
The dog puppets.
Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the song right now. But even he used to have fun visuals, or even like the Stand video. Yes. Where he's in the bedroom and he's writing out the whole theory and the car, like all of that. Like,
and he used Cole
Missy
Bennett.
Elliott. I mean, the main example,
Busta, Touch It.
Come on, like where is that? Like, it's not fun. Like, it almost feels like video sometimes. I almost feel detached. Like they are showing off a lifestyle that I don't relate to.
Mm-hmm. And I think that comment is what brings the conversation full circle. Is when hip hop started in 72, 73, that was off of pure feel good music. Mm-hmm. Like the vibrations of a DJ Kool Herc, who was Jamaican, right? Mm-hmm. So, the vibrations in poverty to make people feel good. Mm-hmm. It was the community block party. It was in the rec room. On the block. Outgrew the rec room, so they went to the block. Yep. And everybody was just having a good time.
Somebody random apartment.
Yeah, somebody random apartment. You put the speakers up and they run the wire, and now you blasting it into the. So hip hop in its onset was fun. Yep. It was this thing that was new, and it was innovative, and it was youthful, and now it's a duality of both with a mix of commercialization, to where it's like, okay, so what is selling, what is not selling? Yeah. And then because there is not like youth focused music video shows anymore. Now the sell that what music videos were back in the late 90s, early 2000s, that doesn't exist no more. That motivation doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. Because it's so detached. Like, it just doesn't. And I hate that they took that off because I feel like that was like such a big pinnacle of youth in general, because it was that bridge of like seeing your favorite artist and what they got going on and what's interesting and what's cool, but also being able to see other people in that space with them. Like, you're in the studio, but it's not like they're in the studio and we're just watching at home. Like, nah, there's people there that are breathing the same air as the people that they love that's in this video that they about to premiere right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's a full experience that we don't get to have anymore. And I think, unfortunately, to your point, even with the commercialization, because of that, all teens really get to grab to, and I won't even say teens, but just people, all they know or can connect to is whatever visual that they put out.
Right.
And if your visual is highlighting the commercialization of this, meaning like, we make this music and this is what it's gotten us. This is what we're able to do with our money, with our bling, with our peoples. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it could be cool, or you can visualize that in a way that is conceptual or is artistic, or all of the things that makes it feel meaty in a way, or you can do it in a way that's empty and it's just vapid. Like, bet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it shows, I think there's like the dichotomy of like what an artist could be and what that looks like. There's artists who come in and do their thing because they want to live a certain lifestyle. And once they attain that lifestyle, that's what you get.
Right.
Or you have people whose music they make, yes, because they want to attain a certain lifestyle, but that's not the point of why they're making it. Like, they're trying to create something, or create a lane, push a message, or even invoke conversation about something. You know? Like, it's bigger than the glitz and glam, where for some it is the glitz and glam.
Yeah, like Drake. It's the glitz and glam of it. Yeah, that's like Drake. But as you was talking, I was thinking about Nipsey.
Yes.
And his videos were fun. Even though all his content may not have been fun, which I think Victory Lap, for the most part, outside of Blue Laces 2, was a fun album.
Yeah, Victory Lap was good.
And it was a very matured album from his mixtapes leading up to that. Like, Victory Lap was something, like, it was a sound that was curated over years of releasing mixtapes and things of that nature. But his visuals, like, he had a visual for almost every song on that album.
Yeah, he did, actually.
All fun. Like,
yeah.
And I remember, so when he died, his producer, his video guy, I don't like call it, the production company that he used would say, like, sometimes Nip would tell them to film without a permit. So, like, it's I don't remember which, I think it's Loaded Bases. In that video, when they're swerving in the highway, they did that because they got kicked out of where they was filming before because they didn't have a permit. So then Nip called his guy that's doing the video and was like, yo, catch this, we about to have fun. Yeah. And they like shut this. Like, that is where I think the fun comes in, where it's like, yo, I just want to. And Nip was different because he was a product of the old way to create music, to where I'm just creating stuff that I love. Yep. And that feels good to me, and I'm not trying to really do nothing but speak my truth. And then I want to show you it. And it's just videos of him in his hood. Yeah. Besides Double Up was more of a production on the production side. But they were all fun. So when you were saying that, I thought about like Nipsey videos when he was really peaking.
Yeah. But actually, when you were talking about Nipsey and just his process, I was actually thinking about Cudi.
Yeah.
Because Cudi was the same way, but obviously his thing is more about his mental health and wellness and really like being able to tap into that. But even the visuals played a role in that.
Yeah.
Like whether it be like literally him showing himself like off the rails or even just the idea of like mentally what could be happening. Even with like Frank Ocean with like Novocaine.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like you're in it now. Like it's one thing to just look at what's happened, but now it's like, oh shit, like I get it. I feel this.
Like we
now.
felt we was in the Crank That video or the Bird Walk video because we was doing the dances.
We were doing it already outside.
Yeah, so
we was already wearing tall tees.
And there's an element of him inviting kids. At that time to be in the video to continue to do like even Dunk. Like we felt it was fun. It was colorful and it was, you know, it had like the Lamborghinis and stuff. Even like Marco Polo, Bow Wow and Soulja Boy. Like it was fun. It was a pool party and you know. Yeah. So that's a good point.
Yeah. There's nothing for or not nothing, but I think there just has to be an idea or there needs to still set importance of the relatability to the people that are listening to you. Like, because to be honest, like, who's an example I could think of, right? I'll give you an example. Like how I was saying, I love Jeezy, right? I don't know shit about shooting nobody up. I don't know shit about cooking up nobody's nothing, bro.
Yeah, nah.
I don't live that life. Push, I have no idea what it's like.
At all.
But at the same time, I think there's the idea that they push of community.
Yes.
Right? Like, so no, I don't know necessarily specifically about how it feels to be like out having to sell dope. I don't know what it's like to be in that space, but I do understand the idea of like having to get shit done to take care of my family, to take care of my community. Shit may not look how it should, but I'm doing this for something that's bigger than me, like,
and the lived learned experience of the reality of that. So like when you said Jeezy, I thought about when Church of the Streets came out, and I listened to that album front to back wholeheartedly. And that's similar to like Nip, like there's this reality, so that's a reality that they lived, and then there's my reality, and then there's another reality, but bunch of realities in life. But it's how you convey those realities, right? Because even in the most drug-stricken environment, there's still somebody is still finding joy.
Exactly.
In the grass that's green in one of those front lawns.
Exactly.
And like that's hip hop right there, right? Like hip hop was birthed off of the struggle and people just finding the joy and breathing the air with one another in the recreation room, turn the block.
Yep.
And that's how b-boying started, where you're giving the DJ grace because they have to change the records.
Yep.
So we're dancing during the break. So when we're dancing during the break, we're giving the DJ grace in order for them to change to the next sound, which is how the break, Grandmaster Flash started to curate the break.
Exactly.
And it goes like, once you go into
there's
what
so
the
many
subculture
subcultures,
is, and then,
even with like battle rap, even with battle rap, like half of that's
grace. That's grace. That's not friction. That's passionate grace. Like it. I seen one on I think Facebook. My boy Desmond, he shared it, and it was a battle rap, but it looked like it was just normal. It's not like URL battle rap. And the dude, like, he did the battle rap and then turned the light off, and then he like put on a trench coat, and he was like, it looked like the Undertaker coming. Like that was his punchline, but it was like, yo, that's fun. Like, and everybody was like, oh, because nobody's expecting it, because you have to have fun in order to engage that space. Because even though you might be talking about, you know, a mom or you know, blowing your brains out or whatever, but that's through the art of the experience and having fun. And how can I say this in a way that nobody heard it before, and it's witty and all those stuff. So and
also I feel like it lets me know who you are as a person outside of the celebrity.
Yeah.
Even if it's little things like with Kendrick and how he did that video with SZA, and now we call him Kung Fu Ken.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh, so you fuck with Kung Fu movies.
Yeah.
That.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like,
that was Wu-Tang whole branding.
Wu-Tang whole thing, right? Literally, the Rugged Lands of Shaolin.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh, you watch those.
Yeah, 36 chambers.
Come on.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's those little things that it's kind of like, oh, you know that, or you're into that shit too.
Yeah.
Bet.
Yeah.
People that love anime. It's like, okay, I wanna find a rapper that, yo, you fuck with Dragon Ball? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that just makes it even better.
Meg is in that realm.
Boom. Exactly.
And her visuals are visuals that is inspired by the animators that she watched.
Exactly.
And she gets so much money from the anime world. Like, she was just
She need to go have a table at Comic-Con.
Yeah, she just presented at the Anime Awards, and I didn't even know it was the Anime Awards.
I didn't know that either, but it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. And I didn't agree with number one.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, that, just like, even to just like get to that point, it's just like there needs to be with music. It can't for me. I'll speak for me. It can't be just one insular thing. It has to be the whole experience of it. So to me, that's bars. That's music, that's videos. That's also how you engage with people in real life, in real time.
It has to be authentic.
It has to be authentic. Because to me, now, especially the way that we live, in the world that we live, anybody could not be a real person. Mm-hmm. Like, you see the theory that they said 4 bats is AI?
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
But it's also like, I've never seen him in real life. I don't even see what he do outside of this one little song. So he could be AI.
Facts.
I don't know you.
Facts.
I don't know you.
Facts. Yeah. And it was an AI. That's why I'm like, I don't know if this Drake track is a real track, because it was an AI Drake track that came out when like that first drop. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this don't sound like Drake.
Yeah.
This sound like Drake.
That sound like Drake.
And he did a little singing at the end. So I know it's Drake, because Drake don't know how to do a track and it's just rapping. But
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I appreciate you for coming on the show and
thank you for having
chopping
me.
It up.
This was fun.
Yeah, it's been natural too.
Yeah.
Like, we just started
going.
And it just kind of flowed, and we
I have
brought
that effect on people.
Full. Oh,
no,
you got that. Okay, Lion King.
I'm just because I've heard.
Yeah, that's dope. And I mean, I learned something about Lion King. I didn't know.
Yeah, no, real shit.
Yeah, I did.
Lion King is a version of Hamlet.
I guess it's a better version, because
it is.
I think I like. It's a good story.
Yep.
It's a good story. I be teaching. I be telling people, like, yeah, I done, like, when I'm in a very like sad mood,
mm-hmm.
or I experience death or something, like Lion King is that, like,
your comfort.
Is that, like, because I learned so much from the story.
Yeah.
And then, Rafiki is my favorite character.
Yeah. It's a great story.
It's like one of those, it grounds you in understanding who you are and
life.
That. Yeah, like, but then it also doesn't tell you who you are, because the who you are part was a very, like, we don't know if he just ate poison ivy and he was poisoned. He was high when he seen Mufasa, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those stories where it's like, take it as a grain of salt, and however you choose.
If it makes you feel better, I have in my playlist the live version of the Broadway version of Circle of Life.
As you should.
Because that is a beautiful...
You know what's a sleeper, though? What? Be Prepared. That's a sleeper. I listen to...
Actually, yes, I can
listen
agree
to
to
Be
that.
Prepared more than the other ones. I mean, Hakuna Matata.
Yeah,
I Can't Wait to Be King.
Yeah.
They have their place.
They do.
But...
Nah, Be Prepared is
Be Prepared is one of those, like... I'm coming for you.
That shit slap.
Yeah. Like, in the live action, it ain't do it justice. I don't like.
I never watched it.
Don't watch it.
I never watched it.
Don't watch it. You don't need to. You didn't miss anything.
I can't get into Beyonce being Nala, and I love Beyonce.
That was horrible. The best thing that came from that live action is the Beyonce album.
Yes, I just can't, because her voice is too distinct. I just can't hear, like, Simba, you have to come back and be the king. Like, I can't, I can't hear
They actually
that.
gave her lines.
I bet they did, but it's her voice.
Yeah,
like,
they said the country twang was coming out, and Nala doesn't have a country twang.
Yeah.
Like, you heard the Texas.
Like, it's Beyonce. Like, it doesn't sound, like, this sounds like Beyonce playing Nala, not, this is Nala.
Yeah, not. Yeah.
Even though Seth Rogen's on it, it's like, yeah, we know him.
But he didn't sound like, he sounded like Pumbaa.
He sounds like Pumbaa.
Yeah. And they actually did a really good job with
the casting.
Or
no, because the Childish, he played Simba, right? Gambino?
Yeah.
He was Simba?
He did okay.
Okay.
I think they went for the names to attract the viewership. But for me, the original is enough.
Yeah.
I think they're doing a prequel. So I don't have an expectation for a prequel.
They already did a prequel movie.
What prequel?
Didn't they do, they did Lion King 2 and then Lion King 1.5.
Yeah, but that was...
Or was that Timon and Pumbaa's story?
That was Timon and Pumbaa's story. So 1.5. So it was basically like... But again, I like that concept. Because the concept is Timon and Pumbaa was like indirectly affecting everything that was happening. Like they were seeing everything for the most part. The sequel was good too. Simba's Pride.
Yeah, Deception. Yeah. That's my shit.
Now the songs for Simba 2 was way better than the first one. But yeah.
Yes.
Like I said, appreciate you. Drop your socials.
Yes. So if you enjoy music reviews, particularly with rap reviews or even like conversations around music and rap, you can follow me at Phaltv. I'm hoping within the next few months to expand those on YouTube to have more full in-depth conversations and even have guests like Devin and other folks that want to be a part of those conversations. So you can watch out for that. But I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. And then, like I said, in a couple months, I'll be on YouTube as well.
Appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
Y'all already know. Bring another set of ears for next week's show. This is Introspective Insight, the Black Wall Street podcast, and we out.
See you soon. Come back next week. Introspective Insight. Introspective Insight.